is up, everybody? Seth, how are
Hi,
you?
world. Hi, Asaf. I am very excited about today's show. Good to see you.
Yeah. I'm excited as well. We got, the world doesn't stop providing us with more fuel to do this show. And
Plenty to talk
yeah,
about.
and we have insights from the Wisdom of Kabbalah to help us deal with what's happening with the world. And we have a tremendous guest today. Should be very exciting.
Keep it a surprise for a few minutes.
All right, I'll keep it a surprise. Okay, so then you start and just tell me what's on your mind, and let's go from there.
What isn't on my mind? Um, I was in so normally normal, in the previous lifetime, meaning 3 months ago, I was in New York a couple times a week,
Yeah.
and I haven't really been in much lately. I was there yesterday. I had to see someone for work. I want to show you something. I shot this on my phone. It's pretty bad video. So I was basically driving, and while I was driving, I was going like this to that side of the street, and then this to that side of the street. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm being very safe, but I was just
Oh.
going like
You,
this. I'm going down Fifth Avenue. So
mm-hmm.
Manhattan, New York City, everybody, um, is an island. It's a long rectangle. So the avenues go north to south. Fifth Avenue is kind of middle-ish. So I was on Fifth Avenue going down. This is one of the most famous avenues in New York City. And what you're going to see, it's hard. I was, I don't know, maybe going 20, 30 miles an hour or whatever it was. So try and see what's going on here. I'm going to share what's on my phone. Let's see how I can do that. Share here. Tell me if can you see what's on my phone now? Do you see
No.
that? So how about now?
Wait. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So
We
all
got
right.
it.
So
Yeah.
watch what's going on here. Look at all of the first what's going on the first floor of all of these buildings. Okay.
All right.
Do you see that plywood there?
Yeah.
Okay. Watch on this side and on this side plywood. That's one block, and the next block more
Oh
plywood.
boy. Hmm.
It goes on
So
for blocks and blocks.
so
One of the
so.
conspiracy theories we didn't mention was maybe there's a plywood conspiracy that yeah. So I just
So
go through the okay. So
all of these are broken windows,
I don't know if they're
or it's defense, or it's
broken and
like a. Sh-
covered or protecting from covered, or
mm,
some of them are smashed. Like I
mm.
saw a bank that was definitely smashed because I could see around it. I don't know if it was preventative or if it was after the fact. Um, but
Looks like a
this
war
is a
zone, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally unbelievable situation because this is normally the heart of commerce and commercialism and consumption, which
Mm.
we're going to talk about with our guests. So humanity is perplexed. This is Manhattan. If this is going on in Manhattan, it's got to be going on in many other places. Oh, there's also this wonderful story that I saw. I think this morning I woke up to this one. So in Seattle, people are walking around, some even with rifles. They block off this area called the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. And can you see my screen?
Yeah. I
Okay.
can see it.
No police. They said no police are allowed here, and also no media allowed here. And this is like their own. This is the property. They hung a banner on the police station that says this space is now the property of the Seattle people. A young man carried a long rifle down the sidewalk despite the mayor's ban on weapons. Um,
So let me get it
so
right. So a group of these protesters, I
I'm not sure who
guess,
they
or
are.
or
I'm not sure who they
whatever.
are. They don't look like they're protesting here, but
Okay.
they declared that this part of the city was theirs. No police, no media allowed. So in general, as
Okay.
bekitsu, as we say in Hebrew, in general, or in short,
In short.
humanity humanity is perplexed. Who to believe? Who's in charge? Um, what to do. Are we, what about the coronavirus? Is that even still a thing? Did that even really happen? Are we supposed to be socially distanced? Then who, is my government, is the president just a total fool like it says on Channel 5, or is he, the greatest savior as it says on Channel 6? I also saw a video. I don't have it here, but you had the quote unquote patriots walked around the corner here, and the Antifa guys walked around the corner, and they actually had a fist fight in the middle of the street.
Oh boy.
Who's in charge? What's more than a fist fight? Who's in charge? What's going on here? So comes the wisdom of Kabbalah, thank God, and gives us a picture of what's happening behind the plywood conspiracy. Maybe all the riots were started by the wood industry to sell more plywood. But behind all the conspiracy theories, imagine that we're in an endless field of light. No, that's too hard to imagine.
Field of light? You mean field
Okay,
of...
let's make it easier. Imagine you're on a
Okay.
beach. You're at a beach,
That's
and the
simpler.
sun
Yeah,
is
I like that.
easy, and the sun
Go
is
ahead.
really, really bright. Okay,
Nice. Love it.
you got it. The
Yeah.
sun is so bright, and your daughter and your son are in the playing in the water, and you want to see them, but it's too bright. So you squint your eyes. Maybe even you put your hands up to block the light. Maybe you put sunglasses on or put a hat down, because when there's too much light, not too much, when there's an abundance of light, you can't make out any forms. You can't see anything. It's just light.
Sure.
You need to close in and to block it somewhat, so that you can make out, where am I? What's going on? Where are they?
Yeah, in filmmaking we call it put a filter on the camera, an ND filter, like anyway, something that it's like sunglasses for your camera. So yeah, so sunglasses is what I need basically in that scenario.
So this is very similar also to, so last week we discussed how reality is built in these four degrees. We talked about that last week. So the wisdom of Kabbalah gives us structure in life. So in the same way, like we just learned from about the light on the beach, also for us as people, we need some kind of limits. When all of the limits go away to what's permitted and what's available to us, it's too confusing. Everybody knows that one kid, maybe it's like your sister's son or your neighbor's kid, who like has no rules, and he's just like becomes a terror. Like a child in a society needs to have not some kind of authoritarian overlord kind of rulership, but a society needs to understand what's going on, how do I fit in, what is my role, and without that, it's just chaotic. So last week we discussed, so what is the wisdom of Kabbalah gives us? Because some people are tuning in here. They went to the Kabbalah channel and they're trying to understand, what does this have to do with the wisdom of Kabbalah? The wisdom of Kabbalah. So when we study the structure of the worlds and all those kind of things. But when we on a show like this, we're here to talk about how the wisdom of Kabbalah, how to look at the world through the lens of the wisdom of Kabbalah. And we saw last week, we started to understand when we were talking about race and things like that, and what the structure of 4 degrees is. There's also another concept in the wisdom of Kabbalah, which is like a head and a body. The head is much smaller than the body. And in fact, when a baby is born, he has all this body. He's got these arms, or she has arms, she has legs, but she doesn't even use them, right? It's like all these parts are there, but they're not even activated. The baby doesn't even know where it is. So people ask all the time, what are we supposed to do? All right, I agree with what you guys are saying. I agree with the love and all these kind of things, but what am I supposed to do? So in the wisdom of Kabbalah, our main action is in our desire, it's an internal action, which is pretty confusing. It's an internal action. It's to grow inside of us an accurate, in the wisdom of Kabbalah, it would be called like a depiction of the creator, but that's confusing because we're not talking about anything that anybody thinks what the creator is. But we need to build. And how do we do that? When we start connecting with each other. Am I taking too much time of your time, Asaf?
No. I'm intrigued where you're going with this.
All right, so check it out. Check it out. So if I see with my eyes, I have five senses, right? I see with my eyes, I taste with my mouth, I hear with my ears. I've got all these senses. If I want to feel what this life is supposed to be, what this creator is supposed to be, I can't do it with my five senses because those are mine. They belong inside of this skin and this protein body here. But by connecting with each other and everybody who's with us, Andrew and David and Shira, Nessie, oh my God, and Tony and Gary and John and Elizabeth and Cece. Hi, Cece, again. Very happy to see you. Hey, Cece. And Bright and Sharon and Yelena, everyone. So when we connect together, we create as if another sense organ to feel something that's going on outside of us. That is, and then we start to feel what it is that needs to happen.
All right, now you're talking.
Now I'm talking.
Now
that was
talking.
all my big
No, it took a while. It took a while, but you got there.
Thank you for
no,
your
I
patience.
think that is a crucial
suffering.
point. I think that's a crucial point that we have to tie it into what you spoke about in the beginning, and that is the bafflement, the confusion, the chaos, the surreal day-to-day that is happening right now in the world, right? You know, we seemingly got out of COVID, but we definitely not. Yeah, exactly. And we definitely not. You know, the numbers are spiking up again, and we don't really know what to do with that virus. We just try to pretend like everything is okay. While that happens, I just saw a headline 2 days ago that scientists are saying there could be a bird flu that will, you know, just eradicate half of humanity. Like literally, that was the headline.
What?
And then you know, I'll pull it up in a second. I'll pull it up. But in any case, we have that, and then all of a sudden you have a tragic event in the U.S. that sparks something that no one really understands. You can take whatever side you want on this thing. It could be, you know, you could look at it from so many directions, but it's definitely chaotic. It's definitely violent. It's definitely not, you know, your orderly, peaceful society that, you know, that not something you'd expect in a peaceful society. And so what we're actually missing is a sense, like you said, of the laws of nature by which we are bound together. And if we can understand and perceive these laws, then we can begin to be in balance with them. And that's what we're missing. And according to Kabbalah, we can only begin to perceive these laws by which we can run and conduct a normal human society, a peaceful human society in the 21st century. We can only do that if we work in our connection. And that is the foundation that is lacking in every society right now in the world. There is no proper foundation of human
what's the
connection.
reason? Yeah. What's the reason why? Why is everyone hitting a wall and why can't all these leaders figure it out? Why can't all these brilliant billionaires and scientists and Nobel Prize leaders? I'm not asking a rhetorical question.
Okay.
What is the?
I thought you are.
I was setting myself up. I'm setting you up. What is the wall that they're hitting that they can't come up with a solution? Then they won't be able to at all.
Well, I don't know if that's what you intended for, but we're running into our own nature. That's what's happening. The wall we're facing, the wall we're running into, the barrier, the gridlock that all of society is going into. You know, on the one hand, we need to take care of our health, but we got to restart this economy. We built such an economy that if we don't go out to work, then everything collapses, everything grinds into a halt. On the other hand, if we don't keep social distancing, then we keep infecting each other. At the same time, we don't know how to deal with all increasing cases of police brutality and racism in one shape or form or another, and anarchism, and all of these things are coming together. Why are we hitting a wall? Why are the managers of the world don't know where to steer the wheel? Because the problem is in ourselves. That's the one thing that human society has never done so far, and that is beginning to actually change ourselves. All we did so far is, we moved from one social regime to another social regime, developed technology, more tools, delegated some of the things we do to automation, all kinds of external changes, different political structures, different power structures, media, advertisement. What we've never done as human beings, and that's what nature is now pushing us to do, is to begin to actually change ourselves. And the focal point is how we connect with each other as pieces of a
So
single
change ourselves is something
species.
that, there's entire sections of bookstores and Amazon about how to change yourself. So there's something
Right.
specific about the wisdom of Kabbalah uh, that speaks to this. So it's a good time to bring in our guest, but hold on, I want to give him an intro. This because when we talk about changing ourselves, first of all, we have to understand what is it. What is myself? I think myself is something that exists inside this. Inside this. Hold on, I have a yeah. Inside this protein body here. Our guest is. Let me give you a little story. When I started studying the wisdom of Kabbalah, last show I talked about that first convention that I went to, where I asked Rav, our teacher, that question, and he told me that I didn't understand anything he was saying. I remember we were at some hotel up in upstate New York somewhere, one of those big ballrooms. The music was like way too loud. It was most of the friends who were there were I think they probably came from Russia at the time. There weren't that many English. There was only a few English speakers. The ones who came from the United States were speaking Russian, I think, and they were much older than me for the most part. There was homemade vodka on the table with like hot peppers in it. I think even for breakfast, it was like hot dogs, and I mean, it was like a totally different culture.
You're
When
telling too many
too
Kabbalistic
many
secrets.
details. Yeah, like
Too,
I remember it so fondly. Like on the plate was like just garlic and onions and vodka. I think they call it partsovka. So anyway, all of the content that I got, I think all or most of the translation of our teacher that I received, and the materials were translated into English and brought into the English language by our guest Chaim Ratz. The voice and the hand of Chaim Ratz like brought the wisdom of Bala Sulam and Rabash and our teacher to the English speaking language. I am so grateful for this unbelievable, incredible friend who is like probably the premier English language expert on this topic of the new economy, of the new society. Can you bring him in? Is he here?
yes, yes.
Please.
We should see Chaim in 3, 2, 1. Take off.
Oh, hi Chaim. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so Chaim, you are
Awesome.
live with us. Welcome. We are live on the Kabbalah Info Facebook and YouTube page.
Yeah, and
We
there's many people listening to us right now from many different places across the globe. Soon, hopefully, Bright will join us and kind of come up with a list of all the different places from which people are connected right now. Anyway, how are you doing, man?
I am
Yeah.
Good.
hi. Good considering. Chaim, we saw until now a world where the United States was huge consumers. It seems like, I mean, we're not sure what's going to happen with that, but the United States was major consumers, and China and India, for example, were our factories. Trump came in, started closing borders, started doing things with trade. That started changing. Then we have the virus, and we hear the Kabbalists saying that probably 80% of the things we produce end up in a landfill or end up in an ocean somewhere. Not somewhere, end up in the ocean. So all day long, we're all sitting in traffic, going to work, producing junk that's going to end up in a landfill or in the ocean.
Or a
Not,
dolphin will wear it as a hat.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Um, it's pretty endless. The kind of problems this has led to in our families, in our emotions, in our environment. What this how this modern consumerism turned us basically into slaves. Before we get into anything specific, can you, I'm just going to throw it over to you, give you a paintbrush and some paints. Can you just kind of tell us, what you see, where we are, where we're going?
Oh, you guys have been talking about heavy stuff. Um, wow. Where do you want me to start? Basically, give me something.
The
Give me
the
like,
best thing is tell us about our good future, because we know how crappy, we could talk for hours about that, but what is possible now? Because the leaders are totally confused. They're stuck inside of a system trying to solve it with their egos. What is possible for humanity now?
um, one sec. What is possible right now? I'm not sure really, but the end result will have to be that we will build a system that enables every person to get basic basic sustenance. Today we call it UBI, Universal Basic Income, et cetera, et cetera. It's been going around for a while. And that will have to go alongside a thorough system of let's put it this way, of bringing into awareness of where we are. In other words, people will have to learn why this thing is happening, why they are suddenly on this kind of benefit program that doesn't really benefit them unless they participate in a program, and they have to learn, um, what's going on. How come a virus out of China suddenly paralyzed the whole world, basically, and then the walls came tumbling down with riots all over America, basically. People are saying, all hell's broke loose here, you know, and what's happening in protests all over Europe and in Israel, um, and why things are spreading so fast all of a sudden. It didn't used to be like that. So people have to know that we're living in a different system than before. It's a situation where whatever you do, I think actually Governor Cuomo put it very nicely. I like the way he put it. He said today we have to take into consideration that he was talking about the coronavirus, that an eruption anywhere is an eruption everywhere.
Right.
And that's a situation with everything. You see, look what happened with the George Floyd protests. They just, took off like a I don't know, fire in a hayfield. So that's what's going to happen with everything. Nothing is local anymore, and people have to get a grip on it and start thinking that way. Whatever I do impacts everyone, and whatever they do impacts me.
You're talking more than just because no one's really, in general, we're all in our house. What do you mean? So what I do affects everybody. I'm not
Well,
doing anything. I'm not buying
it,
anything. I'm not.
it's pretty obvious. You can't get out of the house because someone did something. That's how we've been for months. And when you do get out of the house, you're afraid of everyone, that they might infect you with something. That's because someone did something. And we're all like that. So that's the situation. People are going to have to become aware of it. Now the question is how quickly we get there, because the slower it takes us, the longer it takes us, the more painful the
So
process is going to be.
we saw this, the protests seemingly sparked, like you said, like a match in a hayfield, like in a day, the world over, right? So obviously there was things that were being planned behind the scenes that we're not sure about somehow, all these things. But in the same way, there's plenty of things being planned now around the world, of people working in unity and love and connection all around the world now. So in a similar way, we need some kind of spark. We need to hit that critical point where all of the efforts, the thousands of years towards this, of planning and investing in this love and connection, can turn it over, because we didn't understand how we're going to clean the environment, how many billions or trillions it would take. And then we saw, no, in 2-3 weeks, everybody go home, starts to clean, right? We couldn't imagine that New York City would look like that now, and people wouldn't go, like the entire city would close down, and that automobile manufacturers, would close, and airline, like, we just couldn't imagine in a matter of weeks it would happen. It's a new, what I'm hearing from you is that it's the speed at which things are happening is faster, but I don't feel from everybody that they feel it's in their hands. That's what I'm trying to, the juice I'm trying to squeeze out of you.
Let me help the squeezing. Chaim, you're the chief editor of Laitman Kabbalah Publishers. You've compiled, written, edited dozens of books on this. You know this stuff inside and out. Can you try to describe what is this new mechanism that human society is now entering? How does that work on us? What is this new law that applies to human society, and we don't yet know how to get our bearings with it? What is actually happening here in the grand scheme of things?
Well, I think most people understand that something is happening. They just don't know what. And I think the efforts that you guys are making and a lot of people are making are helping to make that something become known. How fast it's going to happen, I'm not sure, but we just have to try and see what happens. Now, basically, what is happening, what this law is that the Seth was talking about, is that everything is connected. I mean, it's not really news, It's like, first of all, ask every scientist; he'll tell you that. It's like no big deal, on on the more basic levels of nature, it's a given. We know that's how atoms connect. That's how molecules connect. They have their covalent connections, and that's how cells connect in order to create organisms, and organisms connect within an ecosystem. Somehow people were left kind of out of the functioning of they're not functioning in the same way. It's like cancer. What happens with cancer? You got cells that develop in your body in a way that's not related or regardless of the rest of the body. So what they do is that they snatch blood vessels, and they snatch energy and sugar and nourishment and all that, and they develop, and they destroy the body, and they destroy themselves eventually. Mm-hmm. So basically, we've been the same toward planet Earth and everything in it.
Right.
And so what we are getting to know now, this new law, is that it doesn't work anymore. Basically, reality told us, stop. Right? It just stopped us. Go home. You guys have been bad. Go home. Everyone go home. As soon as we went home, what happened? Everything's fine. Beautiful.
Yeah. For a second there, things started looking...
Yeah, because we got out. We didn't learn the lesson. But if we don't learn the lesson, we'll be sent home again. Who knows under what conditions next time, But basically, reality just told us that there's a limit to the extent that you can behave like a cancerous tumor in the body of the planet. There's only so much the body can take. and it had enough.
Okay, so the whole planet is a single system through this prism, and we are the
Obviously,
malfunctioning part in the system. But why is it like that? Can you talk about a little bit about how Kabbalah explains why that is happening this way? Well, why is it happening like that to begin with? Why aren't we in tune, like the animals are, and the minerals are, and the plants are? Why is it that we're so out of whack?
animals act instinctively. We have no instincts, hardly any. Every animal, as soon as it's born, it knows what to do. It knows how to get its food. It can walk in a matter of sometimes minutes. It knows how to hide, how to find its own food if it needs to. We don't know anything. When a baby is born, it can't even pee. Nothing. We're just a lump of flesh. We have to be taught everything, including how to be humans. We have been denied everything so that we could learn it. And if we learn it, then we understand how the system works. An animal doesn't have to learn how the system works. It's just part of the system and acts instinctively.
And what is the benefit then of being a human instead of an animal?
Yeah, and it has to be a benefit that justifies this horrible, horrendous, chaotic, surreal world that we're getting into in the 21st century, that is becoming, every day more horrific than the previous day.
Imagine if you could tell why everything happens, why everything happened, how things will develop, and why, and you could control it. How's that for a bonus?
Let's take a global
Deep.
check for a second to understand where we are right now with us here live in this force together. We have friends from Minneapolis, where the George Floyd event actually took place. Minneapolis, Argentina, Philadelphia, Angola, Quebec, Miami, Chile, Colorado, the UK, Denmark, St. Louis, Germany, Los Angeles, British Columbia, Israel, South Carolina, Brazil, Paris, Pittsburgh, Russia, New York City, Guatemala, Florida, St. Louis, Ethiopia, Connecticut, Cameroon, Poland, North Carolina, South Africa, Iowa, Mexico, Washington, Ohio, Ghana. I say Colorado, San Francisco,
Ghana.
Toronto, Staten Island, Spain, Turkey, and Norway. Unbelievable.
Incredible.
So these people have a certain kind of inclination. Chaim, can you also talk about the difference between those with this inclination and what the work of those people are, what we can do now during our remaining kind of 30 minutes together, and how that differs from everyone else who is reacting to whatever right now we go out into the street, now we go out into the street, now we stay home, we see like it in the body. Well, okay, that's that. Can you
All right. Let's put it this way. So we have some sort of awareness that there is a possibility to do something else, to do something good, to not go only with our own desires, with ego, with unawareness, but with awareness of the whole system, of the balance that we need to put into the system, of the harmony that that the organism of planet Earth functions in, right? But we can't tune into it. And that's our problem. This is why we are each to ourselves. But think of it this way. You guys both play guitar, right? All right. What happens
One of us
when you
tries
play-
to play, the other one really does. Yeah.
What happens when you tune the guitar and you pluck on the sixth string and you hold your finger on the E on the fourth string?
You,
What happens is that the fourth string begins to play by itself if it's in tune, right?
it vibrates, you mean, yeah?
It reverberates.
Reverberates,
Correct.
yeah.
Right. Why? Because that E, that same note, exists in the D string, in the fourth string as well. It's just
Called like
latent.
sympathetic vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you pluck it, you excite it, you set it in motion.
Right.
So likewise, all of us have that sense that animals have, except it's like we're like that D string. We need something to excite it.
Ooh. Ooh.
Wow. So if we pluck here,
We,
it can vibrate in the rest of.
no,
If
what I
we,
like about this
all of
example,
us,
it sounds like we only need just a nudge, just like a semitone there or something.
it's plain physics. That's what it is. It's audio physics, actually. So if we all together now just want that something, that D string within us, that latent thing that we already have because we're animals too.
Right.
If we want it to happen, we will excite it. And it'll start ringing. As simple as that.
Wow.
All right.
So
And that excitement, that ringing is essentially, you're saying, what's needed as the new foundation for everything else in the world to fall into place. Our economy, our society, our politics, our everything, right?
That ringing is new music in earth. It's a new song, and it's a song of unity and harmony.
we also have.
It's an awareness that all the strings have to play together, otherwise you're out of tune.
We also have Tijuana and Holland here as well. So we here are now can perform this action that you're talking about, Chaim. We have this. We basically represent the entire world. The people who are watching are together with us in this show right now are representing the whole world, and we can make that inner effort together. I want to say that we can. Chaim, I didn't put this in your rider before you agreed to come on the show, but we can take questions. So if anybody has any questions, please let us know. We can see your name, but maybe you tell us where you're from and a question, and we will try to get to as many of them that we can here. Wow.
In the meantime, I'm seeing that there's a lot of just beautiful impressions here from looking at the chat. Gary Higgins says, when two instruments are perfectly in tune, their sound will carry 10 times further than the same instruments when they are slightly out of tune. A bunch of other impressions here on this example. People are feeling it. There's a collection here of people from all around the world that are definitely trying to play the same tune, to feel the same, to excite the right note.
So sorry.
You first. Go.
Okay. Figuring out, for example, how everybody's going to get fed and what everybody's going to do and how all the mortgages are going to get paid and what are we going to... So all of that is going to, I guess, follow after, once the vibration comes through the air, all of a sudden I'll wake up and instead of thinking I need to, buy that 16th pair of shoes,
You can't know how it's going to work now. Because right now we're all selfish to the core. Right?
What did you say?
Right now, exactly. As soon as we start awakening this tune, and start playing it. And by the way, we just have to do it. Our own efforts are enough. Just our efforts. Why? Because by making an effort, you start tuning yourself to that note and it starts ringing. Just by acting it out. Because you start behaving as if, and you create some sort of equivalence, and it starts reverberating, and that reverberation or reverberance, whatever it is, starts exciting that note that already exists within us. Now, as soon as that starts ringing, we're going to get this new mindset of togetherness, of harmony, and then our whole thinking about how to care for everyone will change. It won't be the way it is now when we think mainly, how should I divide it so that I get my share? We'll start thinking in a completely different way. We will think to begin with about all of society, and because we're thinking about all of society, we cannot allow ourselves to let anyone be unsatisfied just because he's a part of the whole. So the whole thinking changes, and the perspective changes. Instead of thinking in parts, you're thinking in whole. And because you're thinking in whole, you have to take care of the parts.
Mechanical Elves on YouTube is asking a question about all of this brokenness, and is wondering, he or she is wondering, where is the part that we have any control over? Where is, in all of this big world and what I see on the news and everything, where is
the part that we have control over is acting out that reverberation, that note. And that note is acted out by being kind to one another. To those who are aware, that don't start, going around, on the street and being kind to people. They'll only take advantage of you. But if you're working with people who are also like-minded, who understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, and you guys work together, you help each other out, you encourage each other, you support each other, and that person's example excites the note within you even more. So, you create kind of mutual reverberation. It makes it a lot easier.
That's what you do for me, Asaf.
No, I want to say that actually what Chaim just described is, to me, like the perfect description of what we're trying to do right here in these live streams on this show. This is really what's happening. We need to build this cluster of people wherever they are, whoever they are, whatever background mentality. We all rise above those differences, finding that common note where that can reverberate across all those different differences and all those different representatives of humanity that are now connected here. And we need to create, that's how we create that ripple effect. That's how that tune, that sound will start reverberating throughout the world, and then people and leaders and citizens and economists, whatever, people will start getting a new mind and a new thinking on how to actually run the world.
Yeah, but they won't give you credit.
I think we take a pass on the credit and just go to the good life. That I'll take that for sure. There's a wonderful quote from Baal Sulam, Kabbalist Yehuda Ashlag. I'm thinking, what do you think, Seth? Should we take a look at it? All right, you're already fast on the trigger here. All right, you're reading. I'll read it. You're muted. So I guess I'll read it. Everyone must thoroughly understand and explain to their surroundings that take it a little up a little bit. Yeah. Oh, okay. That the well-being of the world, that the well-being of their state and the well-being of the world are completely interdependent. As long as the laws of society are not satisfactory to every individual and a minority is left dissatisfied, then with the government, that minority will conspire and seek to overthrow the government. If the minority's power is not sufficient to fight the government face to face, it will seek to overthrow it indirectly, such as by inciting countries against each other and bringing them to war. Kind of rings a bell to some of the things that are happening today, huh? Thus, peace in the world and peace in the country are interdependent. Hence, we necessarily find that even the part of society which is currently satisfied with life, Baal HaSulam calls them the nimble and the clever, those who have it good today, still have a lot to be concerned about when it comes to the safety of their lives, since there exists tensions with those who strive to overthrow them. So essentially what I'm getting here, and tell me guys what you make of it, is that this is the law of nature that we got to take into account. It's a whole perfect system. There is no way out, and there is no way to keep even just one little part of it out of tune, out of whack. The whole thing has to be harmonious. Go ahead. Yeah.
If you don't take care of one part, it doesn't matter how many locks. You have 4 locks on your door.
Right.
You're going to need 5. You put 5, you're going to need 6. There's no way. If we don't include, if everyone is not included in this inner feeling of, it can't be, please, I want everyone to be connected except for those guys. If some part is left out, that part will be unsatisfied and will cause the whole orchestra to sound out of tune.
And you know what? That also gives us a very good measurement to think when you think about any group, be it a political group or protesters or whatever ideology it is, if they're not clearly aiming for global, complete, and perfect unity of everyone, if by in any way, shape, or form they're going against some group, some individual, some leader, someone, not trying to unify the whole system, they're already out of tune. They're already not aiming towards the balance of the whole system, according to Kabbalist Yehuda Ashlag. That really makes you think. Chaim, what do you make of this?
When you try to tell people that it's good to be united, the first thing that a healthy, selfish guy would think is, what's in it for me? Why should I unite with anyone, right?
Right.
But when a person understands the benefits of unity itself, what unity gives, then he begins to want unity for what it is.
Explain
Just
that.
unity.
Explain.
If I start thinking collectively, then my whole mind expands. Right now, it's as if our eyes are turned inwards. What do you see?
See yourself, I
What's
guess.
good for me?
Absolute darkness. There's no light there.
Right.
Because we're only looking inwards at what I'm going to get out of it. As soon as you got it, you don't see it anymore. You don't feel it. It's in you. But if you look outside, if you look at the system, at Earth, at life, at reality, then you're seeing a complete system. And you begin to live it. If this is your perspective, if you expand your perspective to the whole, I don't want to call it universe, even universe is too small, just reality, then you begin to think differently and feel differently. And then every person becomes not just precious, but vital. Why? Because every person can give to reality, to the collective, what no other person will be able to give. I won't be able to give what Asaf gives, what Seth gives, what anyone gives. And the more different that person is for me, the more things he can give that I can't and will never be able to. But if I care about the system, if I care about reality, if I care about the world, then I'm happy that this guy exists. Because if it didn't, and he didn't give what he is giving, it wouldn't be given. And I want the world to have it. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, so that also goes to show how all those ideas about trying to make everyone the same, trying to eliminate differences, trying to make everyone equal according to the same measurement and same standards, is essentially flawed at the core. We need to find the right way to yeah. Go ahead.
It's flawed. It's impossible. It's criminal against everyone. It's a crime against humanity. Really, you're destroying everything that every person has to give. On the contrary, let their differences show. Cultivate their differences. Nurture them. Each one's tiniest uniqueness. Cultivate them because they'll contribute it to everyone.
It's
and then what you get is the richest possible mosaic of humanity. And there's no room for racism, for hatred, for these ideas. You won't even think about them anymore. You see what I'm saying? And that's the meaning of uniting above differences. You're not even dealing with these differences because those differences are exactly what makes humanity so beautiful and rich. So who wants to abolish them?
And a person begins to feel safe. A person begins to feel confident. A person begins to feel loved.
Loved. If you're loved, what else do you need?
Let me tell you, when I feel completely loved, all I want to do is go buy stuff. Okay. No, when we feel this confidence, when we feel this love, we can relax for a minute. We can
talking about
it's a joy. It's a
talking about relax. I mean,
I feel drunk right now. You guys put me in a whole other state.
No, look,
really.
You just said relax, and I was just thinking, yeah, like one of the defining characteristics of this century that we're in is that there's relaxation is not even in the lexicon. You know what I'm saying?
No, more than that. The more hours you spend at the office, the more you're honored. You're
exactly
respected.
That it's not about who you are or how you're doing anymore. It's only like, what are you in the workforce? That's pretty much what defines the human being today, and we've lost all touch with. It's funny. I remember Leo brought it up on the show, I think. Anyway, that there was a study on primates that like 15% of their time they spend working and 85% of their time they spend having fun, and we live in such a crooked reality. We're supposed to be the crowning achievement of nature, the most developed creature there is. And we're slaving away, essentially, to do what? To do what? To produce 80% of the stuff that we don't even need and no one cares about, and like you said in the beginning, ends up being a hat for a dolphin. It's ridiculous. It's just it's mind-blowing. We could be living in such a harmony that we don't even have. We're short-sighted in even thinking about it. It sounds so weird for us, when Chaim explains this harmony and this beauty that we all are together. We're so entrenched in where we are today that it's even hard to fathom.
This is why it's happening now, all those troubles, because they're forcing us to think like one unit, because an eruption in any place is an eruption in every place. So you start realizing that we are united and we are one unit. So let's start thinking as such. And once you start thinking as such, you start discovering all those things.
Oh,
it's an interesting phenomenon. Last show, it was just like a stream of questions. And I think that I think that everyone with us is feeling like kind of this drunk feeling with us. It's
They're
like
stunned,
very,
maybe.
yeah, just to just begin to Caesar from Tijuana asked something about how can we make this process more easy. It seems so overwhelming, all the systems that need to be fixed, but when you just begin to, we learn in the Wisdom of Kabbalah, first comes the desire. I tried to touch on this a few times in the show. After that, the mind runs to figure out how to fulfill it. If we don't have the feeling, like I feel inside I want to build a big home, right? Then I figure out how much money do I need? What do I need? How many hammers and nails do I need? If we never even have a feeling inside of what could be, of what this future is, we can't even, this whole organism, this whole system that we're talking about, with this whole mosaic, with all these, cannot even begin to understand how to move and be activated. That's why Asaf, we talked so many times about during the quarantine, everybody just wanted to go back because they didn't have a picture of a future. So what we can do to make it easy for all of us, to make it easy for all of humanity, is to be in this feeling together, to grow this desire for the future. That's our action, everyone. We need to grow our desire for this good life where everyone has food, everyone's taken care of, everybody feels loved. If we grow this together enough, the mind, the body will follow. Just, it's a natural process. Chaim's been saying for 45 minutes, we're in nature. It's a natural process.
Yeah, but we have to keep our focus on our relationships, not on getting food.
Right.
Because if we lose that focus, we'll start thinking about food. Then we're back into selfishness again, into my food, the food that I need. But if we
Mm.
focus on caring for each other, then as a result, we'll care not just for food, but for everything else as well. We'll just see that everyone gets what they need because we care about everyone. So we need to constantly work on how we feel toward other. How are we connected to them? How are they to us? How can we increase our connection?
Yeah. I'm seeing just some of the comments here. Dorothy Williamson says, uh, the impression is we're all necessary. Um, and
Sure.
Yeah, Lisa Rosenberg says like pieces of the puzzle that actually belong together into this beautiful picture. We also have Ukraine, by the way. We have a friend from the Ukraine here with us. Guys, we're almost out of time. We got a minute left. Seth, how do we best use it?
I just want to bask in I'm just dreaming about what it would be like to wake up in the morning and feel such love, to be able to engage in these kind of conversations. Everything was always about, you make a business, how much money am I going to get? What am I going to do? I make a song, who's going to hear it? Everything was always about some goal. But what we're talking about now is just to be enough to belong inside of this system together. And that's the goal. I just want to feel more and more what it's like, that there's nowhere else to go. There's nothing left to do but connect together and be in this field of love together.
Chaim, there's a question here. Maybe you can take this one and turn it into concluding words. Christopher Clark from YouTube is asking, what is the system of Adam? We may have mentioned that at some point. So, what is that?
All of us. It's just all of us. We're all part of it. And that Adam will not be complete until we're all connected in our hearts.
There you have it. Yeah.
Can we try one more thing? One more
Yeah,
question?
sure.
This is I know we're at the end of our time, but this is I feel P. Marlin from YouTube has a question that's very sobering and very heavy. P. Marlin says, my inner being feels like it's dying because of the disconnection from society. I'm having a hard time shaking this depression. I feel all this hatred between us. Chaim, you have some words maybe for P. Marlin on YouTube?
Yeah, I just wish you to find the connection. let's work on it together. Let's work on it together. If you help others find connection, you will have found your cure.
Hmm. And
Let's
so
just repeat that. Let's repeat that.
yeah, okay.
If you help others find connection, you will have found your cure.
And you're welcome to do this every Sunday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, right here together with us on the quarantine. And you're also welcome to join us listening to this wonderful concluding song we have. It became the signature song of these live streams. So, Seth, should we play it?
Chaim, yeah, let's play. Chaim, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you,
My
Asaf,
pleasure.
and
Thank
everybody.
you
For
inviting me over.
It was amazing, amazing energy, amazing connection with everybody today. We really felt you. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Lots of love.
We'll see you soon, and let's sing.